Alan, welcome to Pittsburgh.
Thank you.
What is the biggest challenge in this job? Every job has a challenge or an obstacle, something that makes it very difficult. What's the challenge in this job?
Sure, I think the first challenge will just being able to get familiar with everything. So like I said earlier, I'm going to take a whole bunch of time to listen to people and try to get my bearings straight. Still not sure which direction is which direction, but I look forward to doing that.
What about, doing what you do here at Pitt? What are the unique challenges to being successful at Pitt as opposed to, say, at Tennessee or an Auburn?
Well, I think it's just understanding our culture and making sure that we put together a good plan of how we think we can be successful. As I mentioned, whether it's unlocking certain revenue streams or making sure that our brand is on point and on par with where we think it should be, and really leveraging the points of pride in our community. I think those things are going to be critically important to our success.
Now, how much has the job changed over the last few years?
Do I even have to answer? Does the reaction speak for itself? No, the job, I would say since COVID started, like that was the personal side of what our jobs are as athletic directors, and then also with the litigation and the changing landscape of NIL and all the other stuff, it's a completely different job. We're worrying about things. I was actually looking at notes from my time at Buffalo and what we were worried about, and it was cost of attendance, and it was transfer regulations, not just opening the doors right for free agency. But I think managing all these new aspects is the biggest challenge for any leader.
And what do you feel you bring that can help with that change?
I've sat in the chair. I've done it before at a pretty high level, so there's not a lot. Nothing blocks me. I might be surprised by certain things, but certainly I think hopefully steady leadership and helping make sure that the staff understands what lies ahead and just keeping people focused on the big picture.
Thank you. Obviously, you have the experience and the knowledge to do this job. What is it about your personality that makes you good for this job?
I hate answering those questions. I think it's better answered by the people who I work with.
Alan,
I don't like that one.
I apologize, Scott.
Thank you.
Sorry for cutting you off. Jeff, we just asked Jeff what you could do for him. He said NIL was the first thing, but it's hard not to notice you have a massive capital project going on next door. How much did Victory Heights come up in your conversations during the interview process, and how much of a priority is sort of making sure that some of the money that you raise goes towards offsetting the cost of that?
Yeah, so I don't have a full understanding of our full financial picture. I know enough to be a little bit dangerous. So once I spend time going through our balance sheet, it'll give me a better understanding of what resources need to go where and how we best allocate those.
It's probably been a very quick process for you, but just what surprised you the most in your short time about whether it's the people here, whether it's the university itself? What surprised you?
I don't know if things surprised me in terms of the people, but I would say it's confirming in talking to the folks who I've talked to over the last few days about how much pride they have in not just the community of Pittsburgh, but the university. I'm looking forward to getting to know them better and doing all I can to serve this wonderful institution.
Susan, you have a question. How much did the success of the non-revenue sports, volleyball, soccer, how much does that help you do your job and raising money?
Well, it certainly makes people feel good. I'm a product of one of those non-revenue sports. I think we had maybe our parents and maybe a couple of girlfriends in the stands when I was playing baseball 100 years ago. So it's definitely, it helps with people, it helps make people feel good. But we also know that football and men's basketball are going to be the drivers, and we want to make sure that those programs are set up and built for success, not just in the conference but national.
Have there been conversations about the non-revenue sports and potential, like there's people talking about national, like, hey, some major universities are going to have to make some of those sports that have been traditionally major sports clubs. Has there been a talk about how Pitt's going to handle that yet, or is that something that, again, just takes more time to figure out?
Yeah, I would argue that's a national conversation, resource allocation. We have not had the conversation. I want to visit with our team here in the athletics department and understand what conversations they've been having thus far, and then figure out if that's the best plan for us, or if we feel like we need to make any adjustments.
Understanding two more, please. Chris, you get one, and we'll take one more.
Yeah. Understanding that the rules could change an hour from now, what can you as an athletic director do to cultivate NIL? What can your role be in that whole process?
Just communicating to the community how important it is. I think we've heard some of our coaches talk about how important NIL is, and it's not them just being selfish. It's the reality of the world that we're in today, is that without having the resources to acquire talent, then you're basically putting your coaches in a deep position spot. So we want to make sure, and I want to tell the community directly for me, is that NIL is going to be one of the top priorities that we have to make sure that our coaches have the resources they have to compete at the national level.
Last one, please. You come from a place to put a $10 surcharge on football tickets. Did that come up in your conversations here as you were talking about this job?
Not specifically. I think anytime we're looking at how we position ourselves is about talent, like I said before, about talent acquisition. It just so happened to be that that was a talent fee, but we're all thinking about the same things across the country. We're trying to figure out how we can get people to understand the importance of making sure that they're contributing as much as they can to help us provide them a great time either on Saturday, in this case it's going to be Thursday this week, and then making sure in this arena that we're in right now that there's a good product on the court. My pleasure. Thank you all.